Intro. It's intro time. Shush. Everyone shut up. What's going on, main characters? It's your boy Talks Too Much with Third Party Studios. We got the Cody in the studio.
What up?
And Slim is gone, so get rid of him.
Who?
Slim. Who's Slim? He's not here. He's not here today, but you guys, we got a lot to talk about today. It's been kind of a crazy week, but the news is mainly revolved around politics. We're going to try our best just to keep that apart from it, Cody. We're not getting into the politics.
Why not?
I don't know. We could.
It's fun.
All right. Changed my mind entirely immediately in the stream. But guys, thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's the best way to show your support. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Smash that like button. Share the video out there. Comment if you guys have a topic you guys like us to look into or to cover. Make sure to let us know. We are also watching the live chat, so make sure to let us know if you guys have any questions or anything you want to know. But, Cody, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Oh, you want to know about my week?
Not in like an emotional way, more like a professional courtesy, kind of like just casual interest. Not like in a weird way.
I've been up to some things and stuff.
Things and stuff, man. Damn.
Yeah, it's very deep. No, I've actually been doing speeches in public parks lately.
Yeah, with politics. So you immediately jump to politics. Immediately. It's like, I don't even care.
No, I've been doing speeches like I have a dream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that I would be judged by the content of my character, not the context of my N-words.
Oh, okay. So that's what we're talking about now. We're going straight to the Hendrix story.
Yeah. No, I mean, you don't have to go to that story. It's just what I've been doing.
Honestly,
really.
it would have been fun to cover. I'm not completely unprepared to like have a segment on it, but it would have been fun to cover.
Like, yeah, no, I just go across the street and I just set up a podium, start slinging that.
Just going hard.
Yeah.
Just the hard R all the way. Dude, we're
every like in like every way you could possibly say it. I've been, yeah.
So you've been playing any games, watching any new shows or anything?
I'm still on that Final Fantasy 15 ride.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How long is that campaign? It's like, is it a long grind?
Well, yeah, single player RPG goes for about 40, 50 hours.
We didn't talk about Expedition 33 the other day. Is there anything we should like talk about with that? Have you touched that yet?
It's great. It's very artsy fartsy.
Love that.
Yeah, no, I put about like 10 hours or so into it. It's hard to get like to take my attention away from something else I'm doing and go back into it. Because like, I mean, if you want a depression pill,
got it.
play that game, yeah.
Dude, I don't think I need a depression pill. I follow the news very closely, and there was like a war that started this week with like a bunch of like I think it was Tim.
Which one?
Well, I think it was Tim Pool who said that the largest dogfight in modern history took place this last week between 145 aircraft that were like all battling in the skies between Pakistan and India.
They weren't fighting with sticks and fists this time?
Not this time. It's like last week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have not deep dove into that story, but for people who are paying attention to that stuff, there's much more to know. That'll be interesting. Probably won't be talking too much about that. I've been getting right back into Marvel Rivals, and I've also started rewatching some of the older Marvel films, like just to kind of see if like I want to know like what's translating well.
Before the dark times.
Before the dark times. Before the long night. Oh, and then I obviously have been like doom scrolling on YouTube, watching shorts and stuff like that. But
have you rewatched the Thor films?
Not yet. Thor is
because I bet like we always trashed on the Thor films before Ragnarok.
Yeah,
it's like they're very melodramatic and blah blah. Blah.
Yeah.
It's like I wonder how well they translate today.
I mean, relative
after all the shit that we've had to go through.
Well, this is why one of the things we're going to be talking about on the channel in the near future will be Thunderbolts, and why like what are we looking at here that other people are missing, or what are we not seeing? Because you and I have a very different opinion on the Thunderbolts than the industry, or than I guess the
our sphere,
the sphere, yeah. We kind of stand out as like special boys, and it's like we're not invited to the cool kids club, bunch of K's.
Yeah, it's a big bubble, you know, and everyone agrees on everything.
No, it's insanely diverse, and nobody has the same opinion, including us.
Yeah,
but
we didn't need a DEI program.
Fair enough. But the Thor, yeah, I'm expecting to be bored by Thor movies. Like the first one with the destroyer, that was kind of cool, but there wasn't really a main villain in that. I didn't really look at Loki as like the main
He was
antagonist.
his main villain.
I know, but it didn't really feel like that because Loki didn't even really make it clear what he was trying to do. It's like I don't think he did that good of a job making it clear he's the bad guy.
Fucking what? 15 years? No, it's been longer than that. It's been
I don't think it
15 years
has
since the Thor movie. When did Thor come out?
I've got no idea on that. And honestly, when it comes to it's really was overshadowed by all the other Marvel films that were coming out. I think his performance was, or Chris Hemsworth's performance was fantastic, but I don't remember liking those. I don't remember enjoying those films as much as some of the others.
No, when they're coming out, it's all about Iron Man.
Yeah. I mean, it's Iron Man's story. The Infinity Saga is Iron Man's story. I will hold that. I'll hold that as law.
Oh, yeah, it's been 14 years.
14 years. You were close, though. You were close, though.
I'm always, in the ballpark.
All right. I think we jump right into our first stories. So Hollywood has been having honestly, they've been getting a lot of decent news. With Hollywood going about getting... sorry, let me pull up the story here. That would help. So Hollywood's been getting a lot of good news as far as like financial support. Even the White House has come to bear to try to bring tariffs against foreign films in order to bring in order to bring more production back to Hollywood. And not even Hollywood in general, but just the states in general. And I think Trump is probably agnostic on which state it goes to, but he has made comments about Hollywood specifically needing to be fixed and rebuilt, and it needs to be Hollywood great again. Needs to be made great again.
Gotta make Hollywood great again.
There's been a couple articles that have kind of covered this theme over the last few days. California Governor Gavin Newsom proposes $7.5 billion tax incentive for studios to make America film again. Make America film again. Wow. Yeah, exactly. That's stupid. What a terrible slogan. After Trump unveils tariff plan on foreign-made films. So just to summarize that up.
MAFA, Make America Film Again.
MAFA.
MAFA.
Well, I mean, I know that California is just raking in the big money with all the taxes and all the major taxpayers leaving the state. So I know they just have $7.5 billion just to throw around. I mean, they didn't just have a tremendous wildfire that they were still dealing with, and they're not dealing with all the production leaving. But I mean, when it comes to the international community, all these other large countries, all these other countries with a good economy are pushing for films to come into their countries. UK, for example, had, I think, what was a 30% rebate, tax rebate.
Georgia did, yeah, 30%.
Well, Georgia, but
yeah, I mean, like, I would say.
Exactly. So additional stories we have in the same sphere. We have Disney Abu Dhabi expansion raises eyebrows as virtue signaling America company partners with restrictive Middle Eastern regime. This one was hilarious to hear and read the first time through. It was so freaking funny that you have the one company, one of the biggest and most outspoken companies on like on modern culture, like politics, virtue signaling, all of that, now is going to be moving their stuff to the Middle East. That's ridiculously that's so dumb. We'll probably talk a little bit about that.
We're gonna have roof parties and people are gonna fall from it.
Yeah. No railings, no capes. And then our last story we're going to be covering on this one would be Disney CFO encouraged by the Trump film tariff plan. He wants to make the industry stronger. So let's go through just our initial thoughts on these topics. Hollywood in general, the tariff plan, the Disney moving some of their stuff to the Middle East, and then obviously Gavin Newsom just printing money and saying it's good policy. What has changed about Hollywood in the last few weeks has been insane.
Well, I mean, it's like, all right, so it's expensive as fuck to film in Hollywood.
It is. Not all of it has to be there.
Yeah, no, you can film in any fucking state whatsoever. I think the point basically is to bring, Trump doesn't want Hollywood to turn into the next Detroit.
Uh-huh.
Where it's like just a fucking ghost town where it's rampant crime and whatnot. But like the whole tariff thing has been going off. So it's like tariffs on everything.
I'm fine with that. It's working too. India came to bear for the trade negotiations. You had who was it? Canada's now starting the conversation. Carney was made a joke of in the Oval Office. It was hilarious.
I'm fine, but it's like it becomes like almost a meme.
Yeah, the UK. Yeah,
where it's like, hey, you want to do something? Tariff.
Tariff.
Unless it's in the US.
Well, and so not to stay too hard on the we can't avoid it. So I'll stop caveating it. We'll just talk about what we need to talk about. But when it comes to the tariffs and everything related to like the film industry, I would rather see, like, I'm not a too big to fail guy. I think Hollywood, I think it's to the benefit of movies at large for Hollywood to fail. I think that if you incentivize movies to come back for Hollywood's sake, I have a problem with it. But if you have movies come back to America for America's benefit, I'm good with something along those lines. But I do think Hollywood, we don't need to be on the we must save Hollywood bandwagon. They haven't produced anything worth saving. They don't have any interest in starting to. They are the propaganda wing of the identitarians. So I'm not a fan of them at all. I don't want them to succeed or to succeed, and I definitely don't want anything related to like our national interests being leveraged to save them. I mean, maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I probably would make the counter argument for like the automotive industry. But
I mean, it already is too big to fail, though.
Well,
they get bailouts.
True, but they. I mean, that's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And
so it's like, yeah, you're too big to fail, as in like you failed, but you're an industry that the government likes, so therefore
you get more. Yeah. So you
get bailed out of your failure.
So I'm not a fan of that. That's something I would see an end to if I had my say, and that was the will of the masses. And honestly, again, I'm not even remotely convinced that Hollywood needs to be saved. If they were just intelligent about how they started making films and they removed all of these restrictions, the industry would come back to them, because I gather that it's harder for people to move their industries overseas if you had equal playing field in both regions. But if you have if the grass is much greener over in Europe and in other countries, then yeah, you're gonna want to move.
Like, it brings back, it's like, all right, make movies in America kind of thing, but then that gives like, I don't know, like 40,000 jobs a film or whatever, because you got caterers, you got all the people behind the scenes, blah blah. It's giving them all work and whatnot. But like, the incentive to, like, Europe has been giving incentives to film overseas. England does it and whatnot. It's like, hey, we're going to give you this astronomical tax break.
Do you think, I want to ask you a question about your like English movies, like the BBC productions and stuff like that.
The state?
Yeah, the state. Well, I mean, like this, yeah, the UK. I want to know, like, in your opinion, do you think that like European British movies are made to a similar or to a good standard, or do you think on average, here I'll say my opinion of like movies and shows that come out of the BBC is I can't stand them. I can't stand looking at them. I think the acting, I think the acting, the scripts, dialogue, I think it's all terrible. I think that it's basically what I would expect to see with high school, like a high school film project. That's what everything coming out of the BBC looks like to me.
Government made. It's made by the state. The BBC, it's like, when it comes to like British television and whatnot, they have taxes on their goddamn TVs and shit.
Yeah.
And so everything's like state made by the state, and therefore it's not gonna be this fucking Citizen Kane or whatever.
Well, and so clarify this for me, because I might be misunderstanding how it works over there. Then Sherlock, right? We both loved it. Benedict Cumberbatch. That wouldn't have been produced by an independent studio put on the BBC to broadcast?
Yes, what was the question?
So like the movies and shows are produced by independent studios, but then they're put on the BBC, which is a taxpayer-funded system. So like the BBC is the host of
they don't make everything themselves. Right. Yes.
It's the quality of the film is kind of what I'm attacking.
But it's like the government has like the thumbs up or thumbs down of whether this can be broadcast on there.
And the government only likes grainy, low budget, terrible like high school projects.
Yeah. That's kind of the way, isn't it?
Am I right? Well, I mean,
no, it is because like I've watched multiple British television shows through like the 2010s, and whatnot, they all kind of look the same. They all look very low budget.
Exactly. Well, like Doctor Who is one of the most popular shows that's ever been produced. It has a huge history. Now, I'm not invoking the argument that it's declined in popularity and it's just put out shit for a long time.
It has.
I'm not invoking that argument. I'm just saying that it is a huge franchise that the BBC has been the host of, and it still looks grainy and low budget and bad. I mean, most of like what I've seen from Doctor Who could have been produced by high schoolers with a few $100 and a decent camera.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch it, but it also could be like the quirk of the show.
It could be. I mean, it's got a long running. I mean, I think it's really for. I'm just gonna shit on Doctor Who fans, but I think it really is for like neckbeards in their parents' basement who just are trying to find something stupid to watch while they're stoned.
You're stereotyping.
I am. I am overtly stereotyping and invoking their like just a specific characteristic of person.
Yeah.
As a
I think
Doctor Who
people
fan.
that are Doctor Who fans grew up on Doctor Who.
Well, it's been
Like, because I tried to get into it in my late 20s, and it's not for me.
well, I think it's like from like the late 60s, early 70s. Like,
Yeah, it's the longest running.
yeah. It's ridiculously old. And I do understand that there is something there to gravitate towards, and I respect its size and scale. I just don't respect the audience that keeps propping it up and making it so.
It's been dead for like a decade.
It's been yeah.
It's been dying for a decade, I should say. Same with Star Wars.
So okay, so the $7.5 billion. Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, obviously, Gavin Newsom and California have their own incentive for wanting the industry to come back to them. But rather than removing restrictions and limitations on production, and maybe that's a part of this bill or whatever he's going to propose as a solution. But if you leave restrictions up and you just give money, that just means the studios just have to take that money and immediately spit it right back in, and you just have UBI. You just have all these government subsidized jobs, which bad, not good. We don't want government subsidized jobs. We want jobs of actual value that the market can determine have value.
I don't really care what happens to Hollywood and California at this point.
Let them die. Let them burn.
I've been praying for the
Let the industry
San
die,
Andreas
not
fault to go for
Okay.
the longest time. But like Gavin Newsom, he's been in power for God knows. He's been around for fucking ever now. But California has taxed every profitable business out of their state. Like they've taxed them so much that everyone just fucking moves.
Yep.
Every tech company, Hollywood moved a long time ago. They've been doing it in other states and across the seas and whatnot.
The frustrating thing is that Californians and people who align with that ideology keep arguing that if everyone had the same tax rate everywhere, there'd be no incentive for businesses to leave. I'd be like, then there's also no incentive for them to come. So basically, you have the whatever industry. If you implemented that plan perfectly today, every state would remain exactly the same economically. Well, every industry would die out, because the policy is ridiculously dumb. But exploring your utopia, there would be no incentive for any industry to move between locations, and everything would just gravitate towards the most aesthetically attractive states. And that would basically be it. Everyone would amalgamate towards one spot, and it would become horrible and just degrade over time, and then break down. And then it's okay. This utopia never works. Is my point.
It's the whole like tax the rich or like eat the rich kind of thing. It's like, all right, so we're gonna tax the fuck out of the rich, and it's like, oh, well, the rich people have all the businesses and whatnot and employ a bunch of people. So it's like, we're gonna tax the fuck out of them. It's like, all right, so they'll just move to a state with lower taxes, and that state becomes more rich because.
Well, and I was just a young tot, a little boy when I learned.
You're still a little boy.
When I learned not to steal, when I went for a cookie in a cookie jar and got my hand swatted. And
I didn't get that lesson.
So I learned not to steal. And so I look at the rich people, I'm like, I would love their money. Yes, please. But then I'm like, oh, you're just going to take it by force with guns because they don't want to just give you the money.
Well, it's like a tear down system. It's like, you're doing better than me. So now
I'm incentivized to hate you.
Give me until you elevate me until said state. And then it's just a fucking like a domino effect.
It would be
to where we're all poor.
I'll be honest. Like the utopian dream is is appealing in my mind. I look at
Aren't people required to read The Giver in high school?
I think so, yeah. Yep. Well, we did.
Yeah.
But I look at like Elon Musk and I'm like, yeah, it would be good if he had some sort of, if there was something saying that money can't just sit idle. But Elon Musk then is a horrible example of that, because every dollar he has is invested working towards going to space, colonizing Mars, making free speech popular across the world.
Well,
like,
if you ask a random person on the street and be like, Elon Musk has $200 billion or whatever, it's like, well, there's 350 million people in the US. If you gave them all, $1 million.
yeah, the math is astounding. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, the U.S. I like what we're doing with the taxes and with trying to cut costs in government. They found something like...
And bringing industry back to the U.S.
And bringing industry and jobs back. Yeah, exactly. And I loved seeing the other day, JD was, when the India-Pakistan conflict came up, and JD was like, we're not involved. We're not a part of it. It's none of our business. I'm just like, okay, the VP of the United States just made it perfectly clear. We're not getting in the middle of this one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, finally, a war we didn't dive nose first into. It's like finally.
I've always hated being the peacekeepers of the world.
Yes, and also yes.
But yeah, no, bringing back. Well, it's like, so with the tax incentives and all that shit, it's like filming overseas. Does that really hinder or equate to like the 100% tariff? Is like, all right, I produce a film for, it would cost $200 million in the US flat, or I can get this huge ass tax break doing it overseas, and it still might.
That's a really good question, and I wonder that too. Now, here's my first thought that went through my mind when you asked the question. I was like, Trump's a Hollywood guy. He was in movies. He had a show. He had The Apprentice. He was famous in that universe. He would have some idea of like what number would make some sense.
Well, he's got his Hollywood team too.
He's got his Hollywood team. He's got the Hollywood ambassadors. In my mind, I'm thinking no. Think about like Hollywood is the industry of the U.S. for movie making, and then you have kind of these satellite states, Georgia being the most popular example, and then I think they have some industry in Texas and Florida. But Florida really does not want the industry to come to Florida. So like Gavin Newsom has said, if you bring film here, that brings liberals here. We don't want it. I mean, I'm not quoting him. That's not a quote, but I'm like, that's his policy position on that is how I... So my point being that...
we don't want this Film Actors Guild.
We don't want the Florida Actors Guild.
Florida Actors Guild.
So they don't want... I don't think that it will offset. I don't think 100% is enough. I think it might slow down people who are making the decision to leave as of yet. But we reported on this the other day. We read up on the article that... what was it? 90% of like sound studio bookings had been shut down. It was down from like 500 to like 12 or something. And then you have huge amounts of the industry like leaving Hollywood or not even being booked at all. And moving those overseas, Hollywood demands certain criteria for how much staff you must employ that these other countries don't. And if you're allowed to cut all of this extra staff, the 40 staff on site at any moment, if you're allowed to cut all that, you're going to save so much more than the 100%. I don't know. I don't know if 100% is the right number. Maybe it isn't.
I think it's just like a threat of like, let's not let the film industry die. Like we've been the cultural kings, I guess, since Hollywood started, to where it's like we put out the culture. Everyone watches American movies and whatnot.
Yep.
Barely anyone watches Bollywood or shit coming out of South Korea and blah, 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 blah.
And to be fair...
We set the standard.
Well, and to that point, all those industries who are young all made the same mistake that like the Daily Wire made when they started making their own projects. They took their culture and they made that. Only like with very little variation. Almost every Bollywood film I've ever been encountered has that, I won't call it weird, that beautiful and culturally
the
like
most
significant
badass action scenes ever.
Well, no, I was talking about the
physics don't matter.
I'm talking about the weird dancing, weird Indian.
You gotta put a dancing number in there.
Yeah, but I mean, Marvels had to have it. The Eternals had to have it.
The Marvels did have it. Yeah.
Yeah. The Eternals had to have it. That in I don't even know if I thought he was a Pakistani guy. The actor who Amal I'm gonna get his name. I like the actor. I actually don't have a gripe with him. I just can't come up with his name. But he's the Indian Pakistani guy who plays in the Eternals. He's one of the main cast of the Eternals. I cannot come up with his name, but he was on Harmon Quest twice. He's the only character, or he's the only guest visitor who was on Harmon Quest 2 times. And so and he's absolutely hilarious. I think he is fun to watch. I think he is talented. I think he's poorly utilized. I don't think he's in as good of films as he could be in.
Yeah, he's also in Mass Effect 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
what the fuck is this? All right,
you got to pull that up.
Yeah,
you got to pull that up. But so I think that the staffing cuts that all of these industries are going to enjoy by doing their business overseas, I think is going to help a lot. I think they get access to a huge pool of new talent that they'll get to explore and play with. They have all the tools they need to be successful. They don't need anything from Hollywood. And honestly, like Hollywood putting up the $7.5 billion shows that they have not learned a lesson. It's like giving the industry like $7.5 billion in tax incentives is not going to get rid of all these restrictions you've mandated be followed. I think the bird
they also in Hollywood they have hiring
quotas and
whatnot. You have to check the boxes. It's like, we need a sound girl that only has one arm. We need
yep. Yeah, exactly.
It's Kamal Nanjiani, by the way.
Kamal Nanjiani. I wish I had remembered that name because I do like this guy, and I didn't want to give off the wrong impression on it.
I was gonna throw something out there, but I didn't want to seem racist.
Yeah,
but then again,
racist? Nah.
I could start a Gifts and Go and make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I'm curious where that's at. We'll check it out later.
But like, I'm also at the same time like, yeah, bring it back. So we give all these people work and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like, well, fuck the industry. Who the fuck cares? Let it die.
Yep.
So something else can be born.
The whole point of this channel for me was to incentivize and motivate people to be independent artists, independent creators, like to get people encouraged to go make their own projects and to see if we can have a new renaissance, a new golden era of creation. I mean, I'm looking at like Fight Club as being like one of the perfect films, or one of the top.
Talk about Fight Club.
Well, we have to.
We can't.
But we have to.
That's the first rule.
Rule number 3 is I got to get it out. Rule number 3 is I got to tell you. But Fight Club was done from a screenplay. It was just an original. It was just an original screenplay that just made it to production.
A book.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you would know better than me. It's not a screenplay. I thought it was.
It was filmed after the book.
Okay. But that's my point, is that you had an independent Hollywood in the 90s that was working on creative projects, and I mean, what we really need.
Well, you're not allowed to be like, directors aren't allowed to be creators anymore. Like, you only have a few, like a Denis Villeneuve, Quentin Tarantino, Christopher Nolan. Like, they have control over their work. Otherwise, you're just being hired by a studio to put out a product. That's why there's a lot of directors that just flat out dismiss, or like they get job offers from like Marvel or Disney or whatever. Yep. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do that because I'm just a dude in a chair at that point. There's no vision
behind
already
it.
Planned out. The script's already done. It's like there is no creative work there. You're just in a job.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. So I think Amazon specifically, I want to call out Amazon on this one. I want to give them kudos. That's what I'm calling them out to do. I want to give them kudos because it seems like to some degree, and maybe not the perfect solution, but to some degree, they are giving independent creators who are coming to Amazon to bring their projects a lot or total creative control. And there's a specific project that I'm talking about with Has Been Hotel. Has Been Hotel was a YouTube channel, Vivzy Pop. Go check out her YouTube channel. Find Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. Those projects are awesome. I think I freaking love them. She had an announcement that came out, I think it was earlier this week or late last week, that they were renewed for more seasons of Has Been Hotel, and Hell of a Boss was going to be coming to Amazon Prime, and Vivzy was going to maintain 100% creative control. Absolutely zero external influence whatsoever. She was going to maintain 100% control. If that is true, because obviously the contract is not public, so if that's true, Fantastic. That's a huge incentive for independent creators to come to you because they want to have the product that they love on other platforms. The issue is that they need tools in order to get bigger. And if you want to be on YouTube, you lose a huge chunk of your revenue by just being on YouTube, giving it to YouTube. And
30% goes to YouTube.
Yeah, and you're doing 100% of the work with no benefit from YouTube. Like, YouTube's team doesn't help you. They don't spread the word or anything. They just give you more things you can buy. So more tools to spend money on.
Yeah, it's well with Prime. With Amazon Prime, when they stick their heads into certain IPs, it turns to shit. But if they just leave them alone, turns out awesome. You got Reacher, you got Terminalist, you got Vox Machina, you got all the Invincible. It kind of got meddled with.
But I think Robert Kirkman agreed with 100% of the changes. I've seen a few interviews from him about the Invincible project, and he has not had anything negative to say about Amazon and their influence on on it. And then on that same point, Amazon made a show that made it to 99% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's one of my favorite series that's out. So yes, you're right. They've given him a lot of freedom, but the original work benefited from some of the revisions, in my opinion.
The problem always goes to studio heads that are just the money men.
Yes.
They don't
bean counters.
They don't watch anything. They don't care about pop culture or the arts or whatever. They just look at the numbers. And for some reason, the numbers always
lie.
Yeah.
It's like, what can we get away with lying about this time? It's like, how many millions, hundreds of millions of dollars can we say we didn't lose?
It's like, oh, Rings of Power did this many. And it's like, all right, so we got to lie our asses off to our investors in order to keep funding this fucking thing.
Well, let's say you have you have the industries that move overseas, and one of the benefits of this, one of the best pros that's come out of Hollywood moving some of their movies to the UK is that they are forced to, for tax transparency, they're forced to divulge their taxes. They can't hide it.
They can lie for a while.
Yep.
And then it eventually comes out.
Yep. Just, oh man, to be a fly on the wall of like a tax office and just see all this shit as you're processing it. I should go work for the IRS just to get the scoop.
You're just a tax man sitting there and it's like, Thunderbolt's $200 million. I don't know about that.
So what do you think about like Disney moving some of their projects and expanding into Abu Dhabi? I mean, this
go for it, dude.
Let them.
I don't.
That's
their ideology clashes with that so much, but it doesn't matter because it's more of a Disney's ideology is more of a show. It's not actually something they believe in.
It's a skin suit they wear.
Yeah, it's a skin suit they wear. They've thanked a province in China that has concentration camps in it.
Yep.
For what are they? Uyghurs?
The Uyghur Muslims, yeah. Yeah.
For the remake of one of my favorite films of all time, Mulan.
That they absolutely butchered and ruined.
Yeah.
Poor China.
It's just, no. It's all liars and it's just like money moving. Who cares at this point? I want Hollywood to die so something else can be brought up.
Honestly, I
like we got Hamptons instead.
Do we get to at this point? I mean, obviously we have our own gripe with YouTube, but do we get to thank YouTube now for being the place where independent content goes to be created? Obviously, Google's had a rough year. I don't know if you heard this, but Google has been getting its ass kicked on market share for search engine. Google's losing search engine. AI, ChatGPT, and Grok. The AI, they're so much more efficient search engines. I'll give you an example. So let's say you wanted to search.
I'm using Bing right now.
Obviously. Yeah, but let's say you wanted to search for a specific article that came out 10 years ago, and you're trying to tell a friend, but you can only remember vague details about the article. You put in some of those vague details into YouTube in hopes that you maybe can find it on the front page or in one of the pages if you got specific enough, and then you have to keep hammering those little details, but you have almost no way of recognizing it. You put that in there, YouTube keeps putting new content on top of those articles. So any article that comes up, it's going to be prompting you to the newest and the most popular result. Not the one you're specifically looking for, but the newest and most popular are the factors they're going to be focusing in their search engine versus the specifics. If you use AI with their large data set algorithms, they actually will take those key details and they'll be like, oh, I know exactly what story you're talking about. Here it is. Here's a summary. Here's the link. Go ham.
So there might be better search engines, but Google has something that no one else has. It's in the vernacular of the
term?
the public.
So Kleenex.
It's like, hey, you don't know something? Google it.
Yes. I don't think that, okay, so when,
Yeah.
but here's a counter to that. You just said the vernacular, but you also clarified your main search engine, or the one you're using right now, is Bing.
Yeah, it's just because that's the one that pops up when I.
So they
It's not like an active.
they can have the verb. They can have the verb, and we'll let the money.
It's not an active choice. It's just the thing that pops up using my Microsoft computer.
Yeah, but this is my point. Google has not been winning on the search. Google has not been winning on this front. And honestly, Google puts so much effort into filters and restricting the content you can see and making everything DEI. So when Google had their AI come out and they had their image generation and people were looking for samurai, Japanese samurai,
Black Japanese samurai.
they made Assassin's Creed Shadows.
What's funny is if you go to Firefox, you're searching on Yahoo, which I didn't even realize was a thing still.
No, that's crazy. But yeah, ChatGPT actually got a huge upgrade recently, and I can testify that it is fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a huge upgrade. I think it's actually better than Grok, and I've been using Grok for a while.
The fuck is Grok?
That's X. That's X's.
Go.
That's X's platform. Grok is X's AI. That's Elon Musk's AI. Grok. That's what it's called. Just
Fucking search engines, man.
They're obsolete now. There's no reason to use them. If you're going to use AI, you're going to get much better information. You're going to get specific information. There's no reason to go to a search engine if you have Grok or if you have ChatGPT.
If search engines are basically there for like people that want like general information on a sort of topic.
Yeah.
We live in a world now where everyone just knows or goes to a certain place that they can trust. There's no like, I'm gonna search the story and scroll through 10 fucking things that Google put there for me or whatever. That's not a thing anymore.
Well, but then you also have Google's AI they're so far behind on the AI game that they're worse than
racist AI.
They're worse than Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI, which Microsoft is implementing into all of their work. They're implementing into Word, Excel, all their email. Like Microsoft is putting Copilot inside of every Microsoft product they possibly can and trying to get them to work together. Then you have Elon Musk with X, and he has access to the largest social media platform in existence, and he's porting in. I'm sorry. Technically, I think YouTube would be the largest versus X for a social media platform.
Yeah.
But just
it's
not
second to Google.
Yeah, not to get my own, not to fuck up my own explanation, but X as Grok, and they went no holds barred for trying to be the most accurate possible because they limited their restrictions and their like censorship. And then you have China, who was beating ChatGPT, or was reported that they were beating ChatGPT by their own like stories and articles that they were putting out about it. But even if it's just as good as ChatGPT or just barely not as good as ChatGPT, that's still miles ahead of where Google was last time they put out their big update. So Google's fucked. They're so far behind on AI. Their search engine is not the main thing to use anymore. It's still.
Well, I mean, like, say you have an HP computer, like I do.
Yeah.
Pull up Microsoft Edge. What's the homepage? It's MSNBC, or no, it's just MSN.
But in the same vein, if you have
and it just gives you all these fucking articles from the same people all the time. It's The Verge, it's Screen Rant, it's just all these bullshit companies that pay to be on that.
Yep. But then you also have Copilot on that same screen. I'm not gonna, don't show me the laptop, but the Copilot logo should be on that MSN.
Hentai.
What? it's all on. So okay, so let's get into the specifics of the story. I basically, my point was Google was getting its ass whooped for being shit. But the Disney CFO, okay, so this is the most recent story, comes out from That Park Place. Disney CFO, encouraged by the Trump film tariff plan, he wants to make the industry stronger. We go in right away. During CNBC interview following Disney's quarterly earnings report, Johnston Johnson addressed Trump's call for a 100% import tax on movies made outside the United States. Rather than outright rejecting the idea, Disney executives offered a surprisingly diplomatic take. That's because they don't want to stop spending extra money on these movies. They want them to cost a ridiculous sum of money for being
laundering.
Yeah. Yes. And so,
how else do you explain a $300 million budget on a movie?
Honestly, I think it is the mandates
of bad coke habit.
Yeah. Yes, I think. Well, there's an incentive for job creation, but it's unions. It's unions. The states have. If your ideology aligns with these unions and you want to have policies that follow those guidelines, those principles that you have to. And honestly, maybe from a religious perspective for them, they're looking at all these jobs moving overseas and being like, how are they making all these films without 50 boom mic operators? So obviously we need that to come back to the States so that we can create all these jobs.
You gotta have another boom mic operator holding the back of the other boom mic operator so they don't get tired.
It's dangerous. We have more from Johnston. It's a little bit early to try to do the math on 100% tariffs or anything like that. What I was actually most encouraged by, the president talked about the fact that he wants to help the industry and he wants to make the industry stronger. We certainly are more than happy to help in terms of designing things that would make sense to make the industry stronger, and we look forward to doing that. Okay, I'm really glad he said that. Trump already has his Hollywood ambassadors. He already has industry professionals who make good work. We covered the story at the beginning of the year with the Trump's Hollywood ambassadors, the Voight, we have Stallone, Gibson, and I think a few more people have come to the table on that. And honestly, I think the people Trump has surrounded himself with are going to be good advisors. The last person I would want any advice from on this topic would be the CFO of Disney. The last frickin' person I would want any input from.
Been putting out good shit, makes a shitload of money.
Yeah, but you lose more.
I'm joking. No, nothing Disney has put out in the past 5 years has been profitable, except for
it's a short list. Well, you have Deadpool, Wolverine, not to Disney's credit, but Deadpool, Wolverine, Inside Out 2 made money. So that
Moana 2 I think made money.
Moana 2
is a thing. I totally forget about
Lion King. I'm confessing to a lot of. I'm being very honest here, and I don't like it. The fact that some of these Disney movies have made money really is frustrating as hell. But whatever. The audience gets to dictate. You spend your money on the movies you want to see. If you want Lion King remakes,
if you want retarded children, bring them to these movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I said it. All right, so the article continues, a strategic alignment with Newsom. So that's the earlier article we talked about. This comes just days after California Governor Gavin Newsom proposed an ambitious expansion of the state's film tax credit program. Newsom's pitch would more than double California's current film incentive package from $330 million to $750 million annually. He also floated a federal level partnership with the Trump administration to create a $7.5 billion tax credit aimed at bringing production back to U.S. soil. Again, these industries do not need tax credits. They need good films. They need freedom. They need less restrictions. They need good product. Then they will be successful. You don't need to give a studio back 30% of their money that they spent on it just for making a piece of shit film. You know what
$7.5 billion gets you in Hollywood? 10 Disney movies.
Exactly. Annually. Guys, that's a huge point. This is the strongest argument for this to not happen, because this means that your federal tax dollars will pay for 10 Disney films to be produced every year. Do you want that? Do you want 10 more Disney films being produced?
$7.5 billion would be cool if the budgets were $40 million.
Yeah, you'd actually a year you would get so much of that money would go to independent creators. There is something about that idea that I do like. However, tax dollars going to Hollywood sounds horrible.
Just give the 7.5 to A24 or something.
It's A24, Angel, Blumhouse, any smaller studio. Blumhouse isn't that small anymore, I suppose, but any smaller studio.
Shit.
Well, and
slasher films.
but okay, hold on. I want to clarify something. Are you pro this idea or are you anti this idea? I'm anti this idea.
I'm kind of anti. I want Hollywood to die in order to learn a lesson, basically.
Yes.
It's like you can't keep bailing people out or giving them incentives to keep doing horrible shit.
So the distinction between like Detroit and Hollywood as far as like industries is that Detroit was making product that we want and we continue to buy to this day.
It was practical.
And it was practical. Hollywood does not make product that anybody
It's not
wants.
practical.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not practical. It doesn't make. It's
You're
like
not gonna take a film to the apocalypse.
and you know all that money is just gonna
You
get
might take a V8 Ford F350.
that money is just gonna go to more corrupt NGOs that are just gonna spread it around to promote DEI and be used in future elections. It's not going to go to independent and creative people, which would be the only benefit if you had a program like this would be for it to possibly get to them.
I don't know. Maybe does it? If you think about it, when it comes to like the U.S. is in horrible debt or whatever.
Yep.
Would it help the debt at all?
Think about it this way. So every movie that
It's
goes
like what's the pros? Like, why is Trump trying to do this? Is it just to make Hollywood not another Detroit?
So it's okay. So it's the international
Why?
It's the international trade from the films. So the money that the U.S. gets, the money the U.S. gets from it is when you have Deadpool and Wolverine make $2 billion or however much it made, and you make a big portion of that overseas. That money comes back to the U.S. I don't know if there was already a tariff or not.
They don't. Yeah, you put out a good example with Deadpool and Wolverine, obviously, because it made over $1 billion.
It makes more sense to talk about the big numbers.
Everything else.
Yeah.
There's Deadpool and Wolverine that made money.
Yep.
Made over $1 billion. There's 60 films in between those.
Yep.
That don't make any money whatsoever.
Yeah. If you had so
they lose money.
Yeah, on the small
if
scale.
you're a rich dude and you want to invest, why?
On a small
how does Hollywood even have rich investors anymore?
I have no idea. Well, okay, actually I do, because like they have the main big guys who have always been like that always goes.
It's laundering.
It's laundering. It's fraud. It's waste, fraud, and abuse. It's more keywords and catchphrases. But so you on the smaller companies, for example, you're right. The taxes that get paid into the U.S. government on a movie that cost $100 million to produce and makes 30 million at the box office, and the government gives the British government, I'll use their number, would give a 30% rebate back. That 30 million from the government, the 30 million from the box office. The government doesn't get $30 million that offsets that. So it is just a net loss.
I hate the politics of this so much.
You could make a case that there's the small scale, like the boom mic operator goes buys a coffee. That's a 50 cents sales tax on that. So you could say the production in its entirety has a bunch of micro tax transactions, but all of it is pennies. It's not like pennies to the big numbers. It's not
right. You don't spend $100 million to make $105 million.
Exactly. But the government is. Like, if we're talking about the tax incentive program and the government's role in this, the government does not financially benefit from these films happening, which means tax dollars are being given back in refunds and rebates to Hollywood. Tax dollars go to Hollywood for making failed products to offset their failures. And they're not breaking.
And they still don't have water in their fire hydrants.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, we should do a few. We should do a few takeaways on this real quick, just to summarize it up and wrap it up, because the tax programs that California wants to initiate are not the problem. It's your restrictions. I think the program itself is fundamentally flawed in that we don't have there's no benefit to the American people, the average American person, for Hollywood to succeed. And then I think that the monetary benefit, like if we're talking about waste, fraud, and abuse, do not give our tax dollars to Hollywood. Do not give our tax dollars to the film industry. Do not bail them out for making shit products and having a failing structure. I would say that, anything I missed there as far as...
like if I was the government or Trump, this would be a non-thing and just let Hollywood do its own thing because they're dying out and I want to let them die.
Yes. Okay. Gotcha there.
It's just
All right. So all 3 articles were brought to us from That Park Place. Marvin Montanaro, Disney CFO, encouraged by Trump tariff plan. He wants to make the industry stronger. Great articles. Thank you so much for writing them, and really appreciate the hard work.
we sponsored by the Park Place.
No, I just really like their work. I mean, we've been looking for other articles and other sources on topics we want to cover, and this just kudos to That Park Place. They just have the articles on topics we want to talk about.
Yeah, brought to you by Blue Chew.
Wish we were sponsored. That'd be great. All right, we're gonna move on to another topic. So we're gonna be covering J.K. Rowling has been in the news. Harry Potter news. We got Pedro Pascal calls out J.K. Rowling as heinous loser, and we also have after the UK. The Supreme Court in the UK had come down and made a court decision ruling on gender issues and overseas. J.K. Rowling commented on Papa Sidhu and other people writing a letter to the court, basically decrying the decision. So we got a lot to talk about with those 2 stories as well. But what is your intro? I see you like eye rolling and physically flinching at this story. Hit me. What do you want to go over?
First of all, can you call the richest woman in the world a loser?
Is she the richest woman in the world?
I think she is.
You know what? I have no reason to doubt that. I mean, but holy shit.
It's not Oprah.
No, it's not Oprah.
Who the fuck cares about Oprah?
Who cares about Oprah? She hasn't been relevant to me since the Raven Simone interview where I don't even know.
Oh, yeah, where she's
like, I'm an American, not an
Yeah.
African American. I was
Exactly.
like, yeah, sister. Fuck yeah, you are.
Preach it.
You are my sister in America.
But
yeah,
this whole so
break it
basically J.K. Rowling is the most leftist person you'll ever see. She agrees with everything. The only thing she doesn't agree with is just having dudes in women's sports.
Yeah.
And the left fucking annihilates her on this.
Yeah.
It's such a dumb it's a dumb hill to die on. Really.
It's insanely stupid. I mean, and all these people are aligned with her. What's the point of an internal fight? Especially when you have all these projects coming to bear. Like if you have HBO has to be betting it all on this Harry Potter series. I have heard almost nothing from Warner Brothers coming down the pipeline.
We've heard nothing from her. We've heard nothing from J.K. Rowling about casting or anything.
Well, she did. So she did comment on the letter, and so we will get in. We'll find her comments in the article.
But she has nothing to do with casting, apparently. Which she basically had a huge role in casting the original movies and whatnot.
Yep. Well, she still had everything that was reported in the early stages of the casting process, which we're still in. Everything that was reported was talking about how J.K. Rowling was going to have total command of this project. She was going to have creative say over who was cast, and she's still
adaptation. Blah, blah, blah.
And
what frustrates me the most, I'm not really talking about the articles or anything right now. It's just that it's such a slam dunk for Warner Brothers and HBO to do a series on Harry Potter, and they fuck it up before it even comes out.
Before they even start production. We're still just in casting. We're still just finding the people. This is not like
we don't have a screenplay yet.
Yeah. Exactly. So
it's so frustrating that people in Hollywood, they have control of the IPs that you love, and they just dog shit on them, don't care, sweep it under the fucking fridge. It's like when an ice cube or whatever comes out.
Yeah.
It lands on the floor and you just kick it out in the fridge.
Everyone can relate to that.
So frustrating, dude.
I hear
it's
you.
an easy slam dunk, and then just nope, we're not gonna do it.
Well, HBO has a reputation for this. Game of Thrones. Switch the screenwriters up, get rid of D&D, keep the gravy train rolling, because that show was like the #1 TV show
So that was another thing.
at the time.
Warner Brothers, that owns HBO, wanted to have more seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
All right. Good decision. They wanted to keep on going. Awesome. The Dumb and Dumb writers didn't want to do it. All right. So, and then the next Game of Thrones thing comes out.
And it's absolute trash.
No, it was great.
Oh, House of Dragons, you mean?
Yeah, House of Dragons comes out. It was great. Season 2 comes on, and then HBO is like, we're gonna keep the last 2 episodes for the next season because they think it'll make seasons come out faster. It's like, all right.
It's
When
not.
was last season?
Last fall, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it's
Why don't we have a
year out?
Why don't? Yeah, it's gonna have a season a year. I mean, a season a year would be kind of what we grew up with. But honestly, I think that most shows should have. I've made this argument so many times. Most shows should have been easier to produce in the 2020s, not harder. Like every modern advantage we have has slowed us down. Every one of them.
Fucking idiocracy here, dude. It just keeps getting dumber and harder to do things because the people in power, they're just like, I think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, yeah, no, it's not.
So Harry Potter specifically, were you originally, did you have, were you looking forward to it before we got some of the like?
Because I read
news?
the books, yes.
Yeah. I wanted it too. I had a lot of people who are huge fans of the books. This is in my inner circle. I'm not talking about like the community at large, but my inner circle was very excited about this. Very much wanted a full series. They wanted to know what they missed from the original movie sagas. They wanted to know how good it was going to be compared to the books. They wanted to do that comparison for themselves. Now we're not going to get a faithful adaptation. J.K. Rowling's been overpowered. She has no creative control, apparently. She doesn't get to decide who the cast are going to be. Whether even let's say Papa Sidhu being Black Snape let's put that aside for a moment. John Lithgow, I like him. I like him as Dumbledore. She wanted a British cast.
It opened the door for everyone basically to be casted.
So,
because originally it was just British born and raised. That's the only people you can cast. Her
most famous rule, if you're a normie and you know anything, you know this rule at least, that the Harry Potter is a British product. That it's a British IP. It's going to be a British film and it's going to be a British show. And now that rule is broken out the window, even forgiving the race swapping thing, which is probably the bigger issue for me and for a lot of people. I don't care about the American British thing. I could understand what she did.
Because it's race swapped.
I mean,
let's get that out there. It's not because it's like, oh, this person's black and was originally white. It's deeper than that. It's not just the surface level. It's like, oh, he used to be white, now he's black. There's so much more connotation and whatnot that goes along with that. So, yeah, I just don't want... I always hate that. It's like, oh, you don't like it now because so-and-so is black. It's like, no, it's deeper than that. You only look at the surface level of it.
Well, and the motivation...
Making Snape black changes the entire goddamn story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same with making Hermione black. Changes the whole story. Now it's just a race allegory for fucking America in the 60s, basically.
Yeah. Which, yeah, we never get any of that. There's no oversaturation of that in the market right now. Holy shit. So honestly, with J.K. Rowling and everything going on with her, then you have, and the other one came from Pedro Pascal, which you don't have a dog in this fight, dude. Just stand down. You're literally Hollywood is bending the knee to you. You're the only one they want to cast in anything. Why on earth would you pick a fight here?
He has the best agent in the world.
No shit. I wish someone would tell him about us. It's like we had his agent. But I mean,
this is where it comes to like the bigotry of low expectations or whatever. It's the only reason. No, I wouldn't say the only reason, but the reason why Pedro keeps on getting cast in so many roles and whatnot is because he is quote unquote from Hollywood white passing.
Yep.
So like, oh well, we're gonna ingratiate ourselves to the whites and the Hispanics, whatever. Because
Jesus, I mean,
it's like no, just cast a guy that's perfect for the role. I don't give a fuck about his ethnicity. Unless it changes the goddamn story.
And I understand that there's a tendency. I mean, it's not a law. It's not like every one of the actors in Hollywood. But I understand there's a tendency for actors in Hollywood to be pretty narcissistic and pretty self-serving in a lot of things. And very, very much not... most of them, I would say, are not in it for the artistic expression anymore. They're just doing what they're told, getting the paycheck, grinding through it. And Quentin Tarantino actually talked about this. And I disagree with Quentin Tarantino on one of his comments about writing. I'll break down my disagreement with him in a second, but when it comes to Pedro Pascal and when it comes to Hollywood in general, if you're just going to be their token guy, I would be pissed if anybody, like, I mean,
I'd feel the same way in any industry. It's like, oh, so I'm hired because I look a certain way,
yeah, I mean,
or I'm passing a certain way.
I would be pissed. I would be seriously bothered by that. And I understand, like, microaggressions was like the word of the day, or like the phrase of the day, like 4 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden you microaggress against Pedro Pascal by making this all about race and putting him in films. It's like, aren't you still pissed off? Like, you guys change so quickly about what is and is not tolerable to you.
Like, say it's like an all black like lawyer firm, and they hire you based on
Because I'm black passing, yeah. Because I'm black, because
like,
of my skin
alright.
color, yeah.
And like the owner, or not the owner, the CEO of the firm or whatever, puts his arm around. He's like, "Hey, we got a white." And it's like, wouldn't that fucking annoy the shit out of you? It's like, I'm hired here because
You were token.
yeah.
It's tokenism was like a huge affront, like in the early 2000s and the 90s, like just being put somewhere because of your race was unreasonable by any metric.
It's actually illegal.
Yeah. And now, but I mean,
apparently that law went out the fucking window, by the way.
well, I think Hollywood always had a carve out, or maybe that was a product of just when when I've been around. But I know Hollywood's had a carve out for racial like carve outs because characters were set to look a certain way, so they had to cast for the look. So I think they had protections for that specifically.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to be like, no, we didn't hire based on race. We hired based on merit.
No hard segue on that.
It's very easy to.
No hard segue on this, but I want to talk about what I was going to say about Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino had a comment where he was talking about how he hires the actors to read the script that he puts in front of them, and he does not want them at all to improvise or do anything like that. In my mind, I'm like, do you have other creatives in there with you?
I'll fight you on that.
Well, okay, so I'm going to put on 2 examples in front of you, and I think you'll agree with both of these examples, and I want you to kind of battle these examples out too. Both Henry Cavill and who played Wednesday? Ortega? Jenna
Ortega.
Yeah, Jenna Ortega. Both of them famously stood out in their roles for pushing back against writers and being good faith to their characters. Even Quentin Tarantino himself has had examples where writers where an actor has come to him with a specific like critique or note and changed his mind himself. So to his own benefit has
Can I fight you on that one?
I want you to, but I think I want you to contend with all 3 of those examples and make the counter argument to why those were good.
Jenna Ortega was playing Wednesday, an already established IP.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill was playing Geralt, an already established IP in the Witcher universe. When it comes to Quentin Tarantino's work, it's just his shit.
It's his brainchild.
Yeah.
I see what your point
Where
is.
it's like Jenna Ortega can say it's like Wednesday wouldn't do this or Wednesday would do that. Same with Henry Cavill. When it comes to Quentin's work, it's just like you don't know the character like he does. He wrote the character. He has a whole backstory for every fucking character they even thinks up. It's like the actor playing it doesn't know it.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. I think Quentin was talking about Kill Bill, and I could be way off base. He only in the interview I was watching, he only brought up one example. I think I'm remembering it being Kill Bill, where someone brought something to him that he did end up changing the script for, or did end up making an adjustment for. And with a little bit of research, we could probably find out what script did Quentin Tarantino.
He also did when it came to Inglourious Bastards when Brad Pitt.
Yep.
He plays super like a Texan dude.
Yeah, he's ridiculous on it.
And he tries to do the Italian thing.
Right.
Or he's like buongiorno. That wasn't actually in the script or whatever. He was supposed to play it a bit differently, but it was like screened or something, and Quentin's like, well, fuck, now I have to do it that way.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my point, isn't it? Like that's my point, is that there are
he wants his characters to do what he had envisioned from the get-go. There is room for lip, like just doing whatever the fuck you want, just off the fly or whatever. but he has a very strict idea of how this is gonna go.
I understand that, and I empathize with that, because if I were to
Don't say that.
what empathize,
I empathize.
I empathize with.
What are you, queer?
Shut up, you suck. No, the the argument being that I think there should be a door that's open for actors that I don't think should just be, you are the monkey, you just dance. I'm like, they are the portrayer of your character. They have a mind that is trying to embody it. And even if they're wrong on why or what the character would say, it's better for them to bring it up so the argument can be had and they can understand the role of the character better. Or you understand as the writer, as the creator, as the original creative, that they are not the best fit for the job. That debate between actor and writer needs to happen and should not be, I think, as strongly discouraged as he makes it.
Well, I think a good example, you can look this up on YouTube when it comes to Park and Recreation, to where the writer was so fucking pissed about a particular scene. I mean, it was like jokingly pissed because Chris Pratt did an ad lib that was way better than what they were doing. So it's like they wrote something and Chris Pratt just improvises like, hey, I think you have connectivity network issues or whatever the fuck it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so the writer gets like, oh, fuck, man, that's so much better. So it's almost like an ego thing too.
Yeah. Well, if you're Quentin Tarantino, you've earned it. I'm not trying to shit on him. He's one of the best. He's one of the greats. But I do think to hold that position so animate with such like intensity, and to shut down the idea that these actors have something to contribute to story, I think if you,
they do. I mean,
I don't want other actors to take that lesson away, that they don't have anything to contribute to the roles, especially in the cases of established IP. If actors are coming in with established IP, it's in my mind, it's their responsibility to contest writers who are fucking it up.
I do. Yeah. It's like my character would never do this or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, wholeheartedly.
So his principle can't be applied universally. I understand what you were saying. It's his IP. It's his brainchild. I get it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's not established. But
don't.
Yeah, when it comes to like, I mean, quotes, what? I think Anthony Hopkins or whatever does this. It's like, actors are just dumb people. You come in, you read the script 250 times, you envelop that character. There you go. That's all you do. You're hired to say the words that are on the page.
Right.
And a very, in a way.
Okay, I want one counter to him, because I, again, like Hopkins, don't have a beef with him. I don't have an issue with his work.
It'd be funny if you did have a beef.
I don't. I don't.
You have a beef with an 85-year-old.
But.
Hey, damn. You didn't fucking shake my hand that one time.
But then I say Heath Ledger, and I say Joker. All of a sudden, that entire argument dies. His entire argument dies as soon as you put the best acting scene in front of you.
Yeah, I guess it was like his artistic, as an actor, it was his artistic interpretation of said character that just
made the film. It
made him royalty, basically.
Yeah. I mean, we want good acting. We don't want, if these rules.
Well, I can also put that back to Quentin Tarantino in Inglourious Bastards. What's the best character in Inglourious Bastards?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think you would say, is it Hans?
Yeah.
Hans. I could just say Hans, and it wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't even have to know who I'm talking about. It's a
played
movie
by Christoph Waltz.
It's fantastic.
Greatest villain of all time.
Yeah,
I would say. I would put him even above Heath Ledger's Joker. He's such a great actor, but that was not like improv or him bringing a certain thing to a character.
Mm-hmm.
Quentin almost didn't do the movie because he couldn't find
this role,
the Hans,
this person.
And so, yeah, and then Christoph Waltz comes in and is like, oh, I can speak like 4 different languages, and it just works.
And I think we need more talented actors in Hollywood, but I think my grander point here, oh, also, before I forget, Quentin Tarantino, the project I was talking about that he mentioned in the interview was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Brad Pitt again. So maybe he just likes Brad Pitt enough to give him some wiggle room, but I don't know. Just because the others...
all my favorite directors generally reuse actors.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, even Quentin Tarantino uses Samuel Jackson and everything.
Yeah. Quinn does it. Christopher Nolan does it.
Ryan Reynolds does it. He puts himself in everything.
What's the old Jews? Scorsese does it.
Oh, here's a funny one. Clint Eastwood. Because he's always directing and starring in.
I haven't watched his like last two movies, so
I think Gran Torino was probably the last one of his. I really enjoyed. I thought Mule was.
You watched Jury Number 2 or whatever the fuck it was.
I did not, but I thought Mule was fine. I don't think it was a movie I'd ever watch again, but I thought it was fine. I don't regret seeing it, but it's not like a standout film that's really great.
Movies you regret seeing.
Oh, War of the Rohirrim jumps in my brain. It's the poster.
I don't.
It's the front of you. What?
Yeah. No, I don't. Because it was so bad. It was fun.
No, it wasn't.
We were clowning on it the entire time we were watching.
Fair enough.
Marvels, I would say I regret seeing.
Okay.
But not War of the Rohirrim. That was so bad. It was fun.
It wasn't fun for me. That hurt. The whole film was painful.
It was a long 2 hours.
Yeah, it was. So we should just finish up on J.K. Rowling. So continuing into the article, we've got the insult heard across Instagram. So Pedro Pascal, we'll go through here. So in late April, Pedro Pascal, star of The Mandalorian, we know who Pedro Pascal is, lobbed an insult at Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling on Instagram, calling her a heinous loser. The post came in response to Rowling's public celebration of the UK Supreme Court's ruling affirming that the legal definitions of woman and sex refer to biological sex under the Equality Act. So, good summary there. And
what is a woman?
What is it?
You know why Pedro did it?
Hit me.
He has a brother sister.
Oh, they them.
Yeah, he has a trans sibling.
Well, I mean, I would understand that. I've met other people who are like super defensive if you have the conversation about this stuff. They get like really pissed off just because the conversation starts because they have friends, family, or they.
Yeah, it's almost like say 9/11 was an inside job.
Say it.
It's like no, saying that, and it's like, well, I have this was back in the day. Like someone would be like, well, I have someone a sibling in the military or whatever, and I can't
tolerate you questioning it.
I can't even like almost entertain the idea because it fucks with their
worldview. Yeah, I've had this exact same conversation about I don't talk about it on the podcast I think at all, but I've had conversations about like policing with people, and that most people are pretty receptive.
I have a brother that is a cop.
Yeah, I know. We're not gonna have it here because I won't survive the conversation about like.
He's a detective because he couldn't stand everyone shooting each other all the time.
Yeah. But I've had conversations with people who have been completely door shut and like complete animus towards the concepts that I proposed. Most people are pretty receptive to just having the conversation. They may feel a certain way, even if they disagree with me. And I think my views on it are pretty extreme, to be fair. I think
I would.
I hold a pretty principled view about it, not necessarily a moralistic view on it, but staying on the story, not letting myself segue too hard into that. We had Rowling change her banner. Rowling never addressed Pedro Pascal by name, but not long after the insults, she updated her banner image to show a row of dolls, no caption, no explanation. The dolls all feature different wildly colored bright hair, which put together could form a rainbow. It might have been overlooked, except for one detail. Pedro Pascal had previously worn a shirt reading "Protect the Dolls," a phrase embraced by gender activists. Many interpreted Rowling's banner change as a subtle jab, her way of turning the insult on its head without saying a word.
I like these billionaires just jabbing back.
Elon Musk doesn't give a fuck. He is so fun to watch when he gets into it on X. He's enjoyable to see.
What I like when it comes to JK, it's just this one subject. Where it's like, I don't know how it became like this huge, like, we're gonna die on this hill kind of thing when it comes to trannies and shit. Where it's like, you can't say, like, if you ask a leftist, what is a woman? Like, they can't
do it.
That's like the go-to.
Right. It's the default answer that doesn't change their mind. It doesn't make them think, but it shows who they are. It shows what they think, or it shows that they don't. So yes, that is the most powerful question I think being used in the argument, but it's not changing minds and it's not meant to. It's only meant to show this isn't a thought out like ideology. It's meant to show the weakness of your argument that you can't even contend with these points.
Yeah, I can like totally against the stuff. Agree with JK when it comes to the trans and whatnot, but I can still have like a trans friend or someone I know and just not get up in their face or whatever about training. I actually have one.
Well, people were like,
but it's just, yeah, it's
the trans argument only came to life when laws started to become a topic of conversation around it. Then
I think I saw a Charlie Kirk thing where it was like, why do the right like to stick their noses in everyone's business? It's like, well, we don't until mandate you're sticking your nose in our business.
Exactly. Well, and so
it's ma'am.
Bill C-16 in Canada, old news, but that was passed. Now it's a crime to misgender people. You got that, like they tried so hard to get that into the States. They tried to legally mandate that certain things be taught in schools related to like this gender ideology. To the counter on just to kind of counter the same point, it's when we ask them what is a woman, and when they used to ask people what does woke mean, most people were using the slogan. They knew in their heart what they meant, but most people couldn't articulate their whole like position at any given moment when called upon. And I think that's pretty fair.
They were told something and they didn't think about it any further.
They have a belief in their heart. It might not be rational, it might not be logical or even thought through, but they know what they understand their own feelings. They just can't articulate it out in a meaningful way. So some questions do that. They force you to contend.
Feelings aren't reasonable.
Right. Well, when the conservatives kept getting asked, well, what does woke even mean? Do you even know what you're arguing against? And some people couldn't answer it. I think most conservatives could not answer that question. Woke was not like a Webster Merriam defined word that people learned in high school growing up, and then you have 50-year-olds who are seeing it being used everywhere, and they're like, well, that actually is what I'm talking about. That's the word they keep saying when they're describing what I'm talking about. They kept using it, but they didn't know what it meant.
I'd almost say like woke is just
like Riz. The word Riz. Nobody knows what it means.
Charisma.
It's a fake word. It's a made up word. Or mewing.
It's like,
just making fun of that generation now, but
it's not like woke isn't even like a.
I have a definition, so I can.
I mean, I would put it in the like you base your entire life off of feeling, basically. Like this thing feels a certain way, therefore, like
I would say, here's what I would.
It's like someone going against is like what your worldview is, and someone says something otherwise, and you have an emotional response instead of a reasonable or logical response.
Yep.
It's like you're kind of a woke person. I got in this fight in 2015, 2016 when Trump first came to power.
Yeah.
First came to power. Sounds
well,
like he's
been power. He's been in power forever. He's always been powerful.
But I had this argument with someone.
His golden castles all over the planet.
Yeah, about something that happened like 10,000 miles away, and someone was like arguing on a emotional level. It's like, and
they're just having a feel out. They're just crashing out. Yeah.
And so.
Well, like crash out is a brand new, like I just used it. Crash out is a brand new phrase. It's not in the dictionary, but we understand crash out to mean you're on a fucking tantrum or you've lost emotional control of yourself. Like we don't have a newly published Webster Merriam dictionary encyclopedia to like refer back to, but we understand and we use these terms as
I'm old
as
enough
such.
to where fuck your vernacular, dude. We're going off of millennial vernacular. We're not going off of Gen Z.
Can I give you my definition of woke? Because I think woke is it's either a descriptor or it's a woke describing a thing that represents this, or the main definition I use is it's the practice of identitarianism in either culture, politics, or everyday life.
That's a better one. I was just kind of basically describing like arguments you get in with people that just don't think reasonably.
If you argue for it, you're arguing for wokeness. If you are a person who does it, you are woke. You are described as woke. DEI is woke, and they're
affirmative action.
They're synonyms of each other too, because DEI is also it's also the practice of identitarianism.
Yeah.
You can't go to people, call them identitarianisms, and have them have a feeling about it. But these other buzzwords that get used, like woke, like DEI,
woke is just identitarianism. It's just another word for it.
Yeah. And then it's just not structured out well enough for you to be like, wokeness is or like these are descriptors of the thing you're doing, but woke is the practice of identitarianism. And
you could almost go tribalism.
You could add more qualifiers to it. I use it more openly, and I don't put
so many isms in this.
Well, and I don't put any qualifiers on it because when a person who says they're woke, it means they've woken up to the idea that there's racial disparity and there's all these things. I was like, yes, identitarianism. These identities are going to shape your worldview. That's how you live. You have woken up to that. You are woke. That's how I define it. So I don't know that mine is like the academic term, but I think it is the most apt. And so that's how when people ask me, that's how I define it.
It's a cultural term. It's not a...
Well, and I ask them for a counter, and they'll say, well, it just means I woke up to the disparities between races. It's like the identity of race.
I woke up to the gender pay gap.
Yeah, you don't see people equally. You're a racist. You don't try to see people equally. You make policy to make sure they're treated differently. You are a racist. You're an identitarian. I'm talking to you, Cody. Looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No,
you're not woke. You're not
totally
woke.
racist.
So yeah.
Ginger power.
I can't. So we had a few. There's a little bit more that's gone on, and they use some references back to older examples. But short and short of it is that J.K. Rowling is in the middle of it all, and with Harry Potter coming down the pipeline, the Papa Acedo, the UK Supreme Court, I think that's going to help the UK. Like, it's going to give them a little bit of, when someone's drowning, you give them a breath of air, and then you put them right back down.
You know what got me all hot and bothered about this is I've read the books.
Yeah.
And therefore is like, I know how the story should go and whatnot, and they're fucking it up. When it comes to one of my favorite shows, The Expanse was my favorite show. Season 1 through 3.
It's fantastic.
Great. 4, when Amazon acquired it, it deviates from the books heavy.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, not liking it so much now.
So imagine if someone made an animated Expanse film that was only designed to maintain
no, it'd be like
intellectual
if someone
property
says,
rights.
Like, all right, we're doing the Expanse universe and we're gonna adapt the books very faithfully. It's like, all right, you already did that with 1 through 3. It's pretty good.
I'm trying to draw a comparison between The Expanse and War of the Rohirrim. I was like, if they did that with The Expanse, how would you would have no fun with it. You'd understand all the shit that they're fucking up. You'd understand it's intentional, and that's just a big money grab. Yeah, that's where I was at with War of the Rohirrim.
And Halo.
And oh, dude, no, that's ruined my day.
Dude, it sucks to be a person that actually is cultured and like read certain things, and it's like, all right, we're putting a show on screen for you. And it's like, this isn't the same fucking thing. It's not even close.
Yeah.
I can understand. I finally, it took me God knows how many years to be like, someone like leans over to you in theater and is like, it's not as good as the book. I'm like, shut up, queer. But now I'm just like,
you get it, right?
It started with Inferno for me, with Dan Brown's, you got the Da Vinci Code,
yep.
Angels and Demons. It started with Inferno for me. And I was like, no, I got 10 minutes into the movie. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Lord of the Rings is the only time I've ever seen the direct impact of that comparison in my understanding of the IP. So like Halo has a bunch of source material that I have not gone through, and it's the vast amount of the books have huge lore that and some of them deviate, some of them don't. I mean, so it's ever expansive. Star Wars is another one I wouldn't touch because it's too big to really jump into.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't read all of the
sponsored by Audible.
Sorry. I wish. Right. Well, so both articles came to us from That Park Place. Marvin Montanaro writing great work. J.K. Rowling appears to fire back at Pedro Pascal after heinous loser insult with cheeky photo swap on X. I love the subtle jab. Thank you so much for the article. Really great work. Let's jump into our last story of the day. We're going to be talking about DC now. We're switching from Marvel to Harry Potter and Warner Brothers, now to DC, and staying at Warner Brothers. But talk to me, Cody. What do we got to know from this article? Well, actually, hold on. The article breaks down, the headline goes, Matt Reeves no longer directing The Batman Part 2, the sequel set to for production in 2026 with no director attached. Front thoughts, like, hit it. Like, no, DC, I love it, but this is, Batman is like your favorite, right?
No.
What? You've said that to me.
But, no, The Batman is probably my favorite Batman movie.
I forgot I forgot
yeah, get it right,
The Batman.
What are you doing?
You're right.
But this DC is fucked from the get-go. We got James Gunn being the
savior of DC.
The savior of DC. But he only, like, the things he fast-tracked was like, what was that animated show on fucking HBO? Monsters or something?
No
one watched it.
No one watched it.
But he animated himself being like, yeah, this is my show. It was like, you're such an egomaniac that it's insane. Had a 10-year plan, brought out, he had that video back in the day. It was like 2 years ago or something.
It was only last year.
Like, he's got a whole plan. This is 10 years going forward. All of those have been sidelined or canceled.
Yeah. To see if he can actually launch Superman proper.
That's what you got. Just come out with a fucking movie, dude. One movie. If it does well, you can launch your universe off it. If it does not do well, you got to go back to the fucking writing board again, which they've done, 5 times with DC in the past 20 years?
Let's good faith this as much as possible. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really fucking hard.
I don't do good faith.
I know, but it's going to be really hard. And
they don't deserve it.
But are there any of these characters that we could point to and be like, this just can't adapt? This can't adapt to film. It doesn't work in almost any context. There's not like an example of it working.
Well, when it comes to The Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman, it could have existed in the as
Christopher Nolan's, maybe?
No,
James Gunn's.
James Gunn said it would be an Elseworld kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that could exist. And it should exist. But when it comes to James Gunn's universe, he already has Superman coming out in July. Then there was supposed to be like a Swamp
Thing was supposed to be one of the front runners too.
But I think Supergirl is next on the list. They don't even have a Batman casted or any plans for the Batman. It's supposed to be like the Batman movie is supposed to be like an older Batman with the 4th Robin.
Oh no,
Damian.
Okay. I mean, Damian's my second favorite.
Jumping so far ahead though.
Well, it's
like, so is this universe supposed to just? Is the DC universe supposed to just die right away because we're starting our cinematic universe at the end of said comics?
Well, we knew this actually because Guy Geiger was going to be the Green Lantern in the
Gardner.
Yeah, thank you. Guy Gardner was going to be the Green Lantern from Jump, not John Smith or I'm sorry, John Stewart and Hal Jordan. So I mean, we knew we were going to get a later Green Lantern.
Be an established universe and whatnot.
Yeah,
I mean, you could basically fuck with like the times and whatnot where we're having an established universe. A Superman movie is coming up that's supposed to be like already in an established universe where Superman comes in and is basically like the justice person. Is like, we've been fucking around too long. But you can't add a 4 Robins deep Batman into that universe.
Yeah, it'll be tricky to do. I think you could. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. I think it is possible to do it with the right writing, with the right story to tell.
They just don't have any other Robins.
I mean, yeah. They're
cutting out your favorite character.
I'm pissed about that. I have an issue with it. I'm just trying to be like good faith with it because we don't know anything about it yet. It hasn't been on screen, and we were just last week surprised by the Thunderbolts. Like, we could be surprised.
True. Very true.
I'm not holding out hope. I'm just trying to be like as neutral on this as possible because I didn't want a Superman movie. I didn't want DC to go this direction. I am already on the downslide with DC, and I don't think that. The reason I brought the question up, are there some things that can't be adapted to live action? or to film, it's because I think DC could possibly be one of those that every single DC project succeeds hard in like cartoon or animated format, but most fail if they're not like Batman projects when it comes to like superhero or like live action. Marvel does it really, really well, but DC seems to like just flop. And I'm wondering if this is just a really, really difficult IP to adapt. Like, are there versions of these superhero films that I would actually enjoy? And I don't know that there are. Like the Aquaman movie.
You could start very ground level, like build off of the Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman and whatnot, and the Penguin. You can build off of that. It just takes fucking time. But these people are coming out and it's like, I got this 10-year plan already. It's like movie. It's like, you don't know what's gonna stick or not.
Well, and when your audience, you look towards what your audience wants more of, and then see if there's a way to find, and I'm talking from a business strategy, not from an artistic perspective. From an artistic perspective, Quentin Tarantino it. You have your approach, you march forward. But they're not even marching forward. They're slowing down. Everything's delayed. Everything's having problems.
Yeah, they announced shit. They're doing fucking Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars kind of thing. Where it's like, I'll announce this thing and then it's never going to come to fruition.
But when
you could have, like,
but Warner Brothers,
artistic wise, I can see, I could do the whole like, all right, we're gonna start with Robert Pattinson's Batman. He's what, year 2? Batman. It's like you can build up from there, and you can slowly go out of the street.
Yeah, expand from there,
crime and whatnot, and then introduce more godlike heroes and whatnot, and
even to like the normies, right? To the normies' benefit, because I think most normies actually rejected the Batman. I mean, I think they thought it was too dark. It was too crime film detective-y, and they had the same beef with Act 3 that you did, but for a different reason that they didn't care.
I have a beef with Act 3. Everyone else does.
Oh, I thought. Oh, you're right. You were countered that.
I kind of like the movie as a whole.
Right. But my point being is that Batman is still the wrong character to start a DC franchise from. But if you were to do so,
you would, yeah.
If you were to do so, I think the best way to do it is not. What they did in the Justice League film was they went Batman meets Diana meets Wonder Woman.
Dirty Diana?
Yeah, Dirty Diana. But in this franchise, you do Batman meets Green Lantern. Because Green Lantern is one that can be done really well. I do think there's ways to adapt Green Lantern properly. Jon Stewart is how it'd start. I wouldn't even consider doing Hal Jordan. He's too
fun.
He's fun. But I think Jon Stewart is serious enough, and maybe even contrarian, more serious. I think he would work better with a serious Batman. And I think
two stoic characters.
Yeah, almost competing. And then Jon Stewart realizes, oh, he's Batman. That sets up Batman really well. It keeps Jon Stewart's character really strong, and that's how you expand from there. Because now Jon calls Batman for help when it comes to like galaxy or universe level threats and stuff, and that's how Batman gets into the rest of it.
Well, I kind of liked how
Constantine's still better.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about those terms too, but I kind of liked how Snyder introduced Batman into his universe, where he's more of a myth.
Yeah,
and it's like he's been in the game for a while. They could do something like that, but I don't know.
That's what it would take, though. James Gunn, it would take something along those lines, what you were just getting to with Batman, in order for it to possibly work. Otherwise, it can't. But I mean,
he's gonna get a reference in the upcoming movie.
He will. It'll be a name drop, or it'll be something like that, a hint or whatever, and they'll be like, "Where's the other guy? He's a part timer." It's like some stupid line like that. If that's in the movie, I'm gonna pay myself $100.
Good vigilante doing shit out.
If that line is not in the movie, I will.
What are we doing in Wayne Towers?
I'm going to give $100 to charity if that line is not in the movie.
Which charity?
Oh, do you want to name it? Like
Shiloh?
Whites for Palestine? Oh, Shiloh? Shit, another 100? No,
another?
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Every week, dude, I've been doing 100.
I got direct deposit set up.
Auto pay.
Got auto pay set up. Let's dig into the article. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. So, Batman 2 is moving forward, but apparently not under the direction of Matt Reeves. Accordingly, According to a newly released listing from Production Weekly, Reeves is no longer attached as director of the upcoming DC sequel and is now only credited as the film's screenwriter. The production is currently aiming for March 2026 shoot in London. So production comes in less than a year.
100% Tariff.
With a 100% Tariff with a release date, or with a revised release date of October 2027. So release date being updated, who cares? That's so far out, it's not even a factor in the question. This news marks dramatic shift for a franchise that Reeves helped shape from the ground up. 2022, the release of The Batman was met with critical acclaim and a strong box office showing, leading Warner Brothers to announce a full trilogy with Reeves at the helm. But the sequel has since experienced multiple production delays and now the departure of its original director. Honestly, the fact that you had the Penguin success and the Batman success, you have something here. Again, I still think the Dark Knight trilogy is the best. I don't think this will be as good as that. I think, do you disagree with me on that? Do you think the Batman is better than the Dark Knight so far? Like, let's just say Batman Begins to the Batman 2022. Do you think this is better and better hopes for it than for this?
I mean, you're comparing a whole grown fruit to a seed. Really?
I tried to be more specific by saying Batman Begins, and qualifying it. Yeah.
But like I've said earlier, the Batman is my favorite Batman movie as a whole.
As a standalone.
But, I mean, so we got James Gunn heading up the DC universe. You also got Matt Reeves' Batman, which was a successful movie, an even more popular show that came out with the Penguin.
Yep.
And you would think, as this is all under Warner Brothers again, these dumb fucks, you'd think you'd fast track a new The Batman 2 or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah, you put your eggs in the good basket
of the Penguin.
Yeah. Dude, what? Why am I blanking on his name?
Christopher Nolan?
No, the Penguin, the actor who plays the Penguin.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Fuck, I was off so far. I like the actor, not messing up names on purpose. Colin Farrell crushed the Penguin. He did so good. And yeah, you're right. They follow the audience.
The next movie would be The Batman versus the fucking Penguin, and it would have done gangbusters.
It would have been huge
this year, but no.
Yeah. You need to bring in, honestly, DC should look at its villains and just be like, because the villains have
best rogues gallery of villains.
Yeah, they have an amazing, most of the villains have really good backstories, except the Joker. No one knows. They make shit up, but no one actually.
I'd like to keep that ambiguous.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. The perfect villain not having a backstory. Basically, Darth Vader maybe has the perfect backstory.
Fell into a vat of acid.
Yeah, vat of goo, vat of goop.
Told you, Morty.
With Reeves being gone, what do we know about the sequel? So what's next for the sequel? Despite Reeves stepping back as the actor, The Batman Part 2 remains as in active development. Robert Pattinson, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright, Andy Serkis are all expected to return, and Reeves remains on board as co-writer along Mattson Tomlin. So he's not gone. That's good to hear, but...
Well, it's like expected to return.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a return. There's not going to be The Batman 2. It's not going to happen.
You think this project's going to get canceled with the demand?
Yeah, they just haven't announced it yet. They've been fucking around for what? When it's coming?
Well, they have a
21, I think.
They have a release date. October 2027.
When does that mean anything nowadays?
Well, the release dates typically get pushed, but unless you're going to just do
it's an announced project for a release date. There is no casting. There's no screenplay right now. There's nothing.
Well,
it's just like, hey, look forward to the next product.
Okay, most things do not just straight up die though. I'm looking at Blade.
Every Star Wars
Blade has gone
that's been announced, every Marvel thing that's been announced. They just announced another 10 fucking films Kevin Feige did. Most of them aren't gonna happen. Nothing that's announced from Hollywood is a guarantee that it's gonna happen.
Well, and I'm not making the case that it's guaranteed. I'm saying that the idea that it's dead is also
it's not.
is also not guaranteed. Like you have
Matt Reeves has been going through a fucking ridiculous divorce right now, so he's barely going to be involved.
Okay.
Even if it does happen.
But the Snyderverse made a movie without Snyder at the helm. That's not really the case for a movie.
No, he was at the helm. His daughter committed suicide halfway through.
No, this is the whole point behind the Snyder cut, was that he wasn't a part, or he did not finish the
He dipped
Justice
out
League.
after all the filming.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes. So, exactly. But then you had all of the production and put together, and the reason he had the Snyder cut and that was so gangbusters was because the improvements, the add-ons to it were significant.
Filmed, this isn't cast. There's no screenplay.
I'm not saying there is. I'm saying that the director moving back to a co-writer position is not evidence the project is dead.
It's dead.
You're just saying that. You're just saying that it's
James Gunn's
dead.
not going to even fucking allow it because James Gunn is the fucking DC czar right now.
Well, I don't think he has
He doesn't want a successful Batman to compete with his Batman.
He doesn't have a
They're
Batman.
Two different Exactly.
So what? So if he doesn't have a Batman, there's nothing to compete with. He doesn't have a dog in the fight.
He doesn't want competition.
That's ultimately the production.
This is killed. This universe is dead.
Well, I do agree that the franchise is. I do agree that the franchise is a dead franchise. But I think.
I'm talking about the Matt Reeves kind of universe. Okay. It's dead.
Are you
It's
okay?
not going to come out.
Okay, you're saying
they've been flowing this for years now.
You're saying that Batman 2 will not see theaters, or you're saying the project is going to be so shit that it will actually be canned.
It's no. Okay, we're gonna do a bet.
Okay. I just want you to be clear.
Bet.
Okay.
Robert Pattinson's / Colin Farrell's like Penguin and the Batman. This universe here is not gonna get another entry. $100.
Okay, $100. When's the expiration on it? Like if it gets canceled
2042.
If it gets canceled in an article, if the project gets canceled in a news article,
See, that's the thing.
That's what we know.
They're just gonna keep on going on, just being like, oh, this development in this fucking universe. They've been doing this for 2 fucking years already.
Okay, let's do this. Let's say that the $100 is increased another $100.
It doesn't count if Robert Pattinson's Batman just shows up in a James
That's
Gunn
not what
movie.
I'm. Yep, that's not what I'm advocating for.
As a cameo.
This
universe is dead.
I am saying. Okay, got it. $100 on it. I'm gonna add a few more rules to it. I'm gonna say The Batman Part 2 comes out in a theater near us. We can spend American currency to go and observe.
That's another $100 gone.
Yeah. But that's
if it comes out, cool. But I'm telling you, this is dead.
That's the bet. That's the bet. You bet it's dead. I bet it's going to be in theaters. That's what I asked. That's what I wanted to get at. That's what I wanted to get at was.
I'll see you in our 40s, and then we'll go out and watch this movie.
Let me clarify. This isn't even a Batman movie that I care that much about. Like being in theaters.
I like the universe.
Yeah, you're literally betting $100 for it to not happen.
Because I know it's not going to.
I
only bet when I know.
But you don't know that based on anything. There's no evidence that it's not coming out. Like James Gunn not wanting it to come out is not evidence that it will not come out. Like Matt Reeves backing up into a co-writer position, not even leaving the project, just downgrading from director to co-writer, is not evidence it's not coming out.
Matt Reeves is sitting in his fucking love seat right now, crying his eyes out about his goddamn divorce. There is no screenplay. Colin Farrell came out talking about the Penguin when that was airing, and he's like, yeah, I signed up for like 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing's happened yet. He's talking about, he's like, I haven't gotten a call, nothing.
Yeah. Some actors will get calls or won't get calls. Like
it's the Penguin, dude.
Colin Farrell, I love him. I want him to be in projects. Robert Pattinson.
I want this. I want this too. I want this so much. I want this universe to succeed and go forward. It's just not gonna happen.
I understand.
I'm being very black-pilled about this.
Let's even put so I'm saying The Batman Part 2 will come out into a theater we can go and see. It will star Robert Pattinson. It will star Colin Farrell. Well, okay, hold on. Do we know that
the Penguin set up Colin Farrell to be the next big bad?
Would that be the big bad of the trilogy though, or the big bad of like movie 2?
Next movie, but it doesn't matter.
Because you said Colin Farrell had to be in Batman. You said Colin Farrell had to be in the movie. So
I'll give you more leniency.
Okay.
The next where Robert Pattinson is the Batman in his own movie, not just a cameo or something.
Titled The Batman Part 2.
It doesn't have to be titled The Batman Part 2.
Well, I want to make sure
it just has to be Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Robert Pattinson's own Batman.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm
In
giving
a
you
sequel.
So much.
I'm taking it. I'm taking all of it, and I'll take the $100 when it comes out.
I'll give
and you know what?
My next tax refund.
By the time that happens, by the time it comes out, that might buy the popcorn. So we'll see.
He just ends up like 40 years from now. He plays fucking.
This is how I look right now.
He plays.
This is how I look. This is how I look.
He plays old Batman. Where he's like retired, and Terry McGillis is gonna show up.
Please, Terry McGillis Batman would be so good.
They canceled that, by the way.
I didn't even know it was in
Warner Brothers
an idea.
Was pitched an idea. The same guys that did Spider-Man into Spider-Verse, whatever, with Miles Morales, whatever.
Yep.
Pitched the same thing with Batman Beyond.
Dude.
And Warner Brothers is like, no, I don't think so.
God, we hate money. We fucking hate it.
Fucking retards.
They're so
all around.
They're so dumb. Why do you take the things that are so good and make them shit?
You know how good that would have been with that animation?
That would have been huge. Dude, especially
Terry McGillis would have been the next Batman, pretty much. Everyone would be like, no, it's not Bruce Wayne, it's Terry McGillis.
Dude, not even Terry McGillis. I've got chills right now thinking about the Joker crew. Like, just,
oh, yeah.
Dude, I got chills thinking about
Joker Returns or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, man. Dude, it'd be great. I would love that.
Yeah.
But I'm seriously, I'm just thinking about the Jokers in that art style, or the Joker's crew in that art style, and I'm just like hyped now. But now it's dead.
It's dead.
It's dead. It's not happening.
It's been dead.
Do we need
Warner Brothers is shit.
Maybe
That's why I'm so confident.
Maybe if I keep betting maybe if I bet $100 on all these IP, I'll eventually I'll be making money because all I have to do is wait a little bit longer. Wait a little bit longer. Wait a little bit longer.
We'll be in our 80s and be like, oh, fuck, dude, I owe you like $200.
Totally good faith. If the movie doesn't come out by like 2030, I mean, we're not waiting forever on this. We need this movie to.
I want it to go forever, actually.
Yeah, just on your deathbed, be like, here. And then you tip it to the nurse. Get something.
It's a long-standing loan of a bet.
Well, I'll be able to cash in on it far sooner than you would be able to. So, all right, guys. I think we're gonna call it there.
Wait, I just lose then, don't I?
I don't know.
Because if it's a long-standing bet,
I'm trying not to make that the case. I'm trying not to make that the case. Okay, how about this? How about there can be no other bet?
When do they? 2027.
October 2027. October 2027 is the release date.
If it doesn't happen in 2027, you owe me $100.
What about this? What if
I was just gonna pay you?
Because this is actually a pretty good indicator of the timeline. What if Robert Pattinson's solo standalone Batman film is not the next Batman film?
I mean,
just what I said, if Robert Pattinson's standalone the Batman movie is not the next Batman movie, live action Batman film,
I'll bet on that.
Yeah,
easy.
That's a timeline because it's not like there's not going to be another.
We're doing $100 for both of these, by the way. Yeah, it's compounding.
These aren't separate bets.
Yeah, there's.
I'm putting a timer on the bet for your benefit. I'm so confident. I'm trying to make it possible for you. The odds are so in my favor. I'm trying to make it possible for you to make money. It's so impossible right now. Okay. But we got the article from That Park Place. Marvin Montanaro, thank you so much. You do great work. Matt Reeves, no longer directing The Batman Part 2. Sequel set for production in 2026 with no director attached. It's been fun, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We hope you guys have enjoyed the content. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free. It's the best way to show your support. Help us grow. Help us reach our milestone of 1,000 subscribers. It would mean a lot to us. Smash that like button. Share the video out there. Comment your favorite topic we covered below. And if there's any other topics you guys want to talk about. And more importantly, your favorite Batman film. Thank you guys so much. We will catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget, go tell your stories. Peace out.
Tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life.